What is going on, everyone? Today we have a crazy situation going on with Foolio and Yungeen Ace. So, according to info that's floating around online, she's allegedly saying Yungeen Ace or people close to his circle offered her a few $1,000s to basically set things up, right? Some say it was around 5 to 10,000, but others say she might have gotten way less than that, which is the craziest part. She's supposedly saying it wasn't even about the money, that she was pressured or manipulated into doing it. But when you listen to what she's saying, it's hard to not think that she knew exactly what was going on, right? Now, as for Yungeen Ace, he hasn't officially said anything, but about this latest claim, right? But let's be real, he's under heavy pressure online since Fulio's passing, right? Some people have been connecting dots, old lyrics, IG posts, everything. Even though there's no confirmed link tying him to the setup, you know how social media gets, right? Everybody's ready to jump to conclusions. But this new confession by the female suspect is adding a whole new twist to the story, man. So let's just dive into the video, see what's going on.
Alicia Andrews, the girl they got locked up for Foolio's murder, told the police everything, and I mean everything. We talking about who paid for the hit, how much money changed hands, and why Yungeen Ace might be the real mastermind behind this whole operation. And now she's just realizing that she dug her own grave because now it's all being used against her in court. Y'all thought this case was just about some young girl caught up in street politics? Nah, fam. This goes way deeper than that. According to my sources close to the investigation, Andrew's been singing like a canary in that interrogation room, and the information she's giving up is about to flip this whole case upside down. I'm talking about recorded statements, wire transfers, text messages, and phone calls that connect this murder directly to one of Jacksonville's biggest rap stars. But here's where it gets crazy. The more she talks, the more it seems like she might be lying to save her own skin. Let me break this whole situation down for you because what's happening behind closed doors is wilder than anything y'all seen on social media. Foundation building, the real power structure. To understand how we got here, we need to talk about the real power structure in Jacksonville and who really had the money and motivation to take out Foolio. See, everybody been focusing on the street level beef between ATK and 6 Block, but the real money and power in this situation comes from a completely different level. Yungeen Ace ain't just some rapper from the hood no more. This man got major label deals, publishing money, touring revenue, and business investments that put him in a completely different tax bracket than the average street dude. We talking about someone with access to serious money and the connections to make things happen without getting his hands dirty. But here's what people don't understand about Ace. He's smart as hell when it comes to business and staying out of legal trouble. This man been through the system, lost homies to violence, and learned how to move different. So the idea that he would directly order a hit and leave evidence behind don't make sense with his track record. However, according to what Andrews allegedly told the police, Ace didn't order the hit directly. Instead, he put up money as a bounty, letting it be known that anyone who took care of the Foolio problem would be compensated handsomely. That's a completely different level of criminal sophistication. true source and purpose of the funds. This level of financial sophistication suggests someone with serious resources and knowledge of how to move money without detection. The FBI brought in financial crimes specialists to trace these transactions, and what they allegedly found was a pattern of payments that coincided with escalations in the Jacksonville beef. Every time someone from 6 Block got killed or attacked, there were corresponding financial movements in accounts connected to ATK associates. But here's where it gets complicated. Proving that these financial transactions were payments for criminal activities is extremely difficult. Defense lawyers can argue that these were legitimate business expenses, loans between friends, or payments for legal services like music production or promotion. The arrests building a RICO case. The reason the feds decided to charge this as a RICO case becomes clearer when you understand what Andrews allegedly told them about the organizational structure behind the hit. She didn't just implicate individual shooters. She described an entire criminal enterprise with Ace at the top, coordinators in the middle, and shooters at the bottom. According to her alleged statements, ATK operates like a business with different people handling different aspects of their criminal activities. Some people handle the music and legitimate businesses, others handle the street operations, and a few trusted individuals handle the money and coordination between the two sides. This type of organizational structure is exactly what RICO was designed to target. Ongoing criminal enterprises that use legitimate businesses to hide their illegal activities. If the feds can prove this structure exists and that Ace was at the top of it, they can charge him as the leader of a criminal organization. But here's the problem with Andrews' story. She was supposedly just a girlfriend who got caught up in the situation. How would she have detailed knowledge of the organizational structure and financial operations of a criminal enterprise? Either she's lying to make her information seem more valuable, or she was much more involved than she initially claimed. The evidence, what she allegedly gave up. Let me break down what Andrews allegedly told the police, because if this information is accurate, it's about to destroy a lot of people's lives. First, she claimed to have recordings of phone calls between Isaiah Chance and higher-ups in ATK discussing the Foolio situation and the bounty that was available. Second, she allegedly provided bank account information and transaction records showing payments that she claimed were connected to the hit. These weren't direct payments to the shooters, but rather payments to intermediaries who then distributed the money to the people involved in the operation. Third, she gave up names, dates, and locations of meetings where the hit was allegedly planned and coordinated. She claimed to have been present at some of these meetings, which would make her a direct witness to conspiracy charges. But here's what's really interesting. She also allegedly told police about other unsolved murders and attacks in Jacksonville that she claimed were connected to the same bounty system. If she's telling the truth, this case could blow open years of unsolved violence in the city. The social media evidence, digital breadcrumbs. One of the most damaging aspects of Andrews' alleged confession involves social media evidence that she helped investigators interpret. She claimed that certain posts, lyrics, and interactions on social media were actually coded communications about criminal activities. For example, she allegedly told police that when Ace posted certain lyrics or made certain references in his music, it was actually communicating messages to people involved in street operations. She claimed to know the code because Isaiah Chance had explained it to her. She also allegedly provided information about how the ATK organization used social media to coordinate activities, share information, and even issue threats to rivals. This type of digital evidence is extremely valuable to prosecutors because it creates a paper trail that's hard to deny. But here's the problem. Interpreting social media posts and rap lyrics as evidence of criminal activity is controversial and often gets thrown out of court. Defense lawyers can argue that this is just artistic expression or normal social media behavior, not evidence of criminal conspiracy. The wire transfers following the digital money. According to Andrews' alleged statements, the most damaging evidence involves electronic financial transactions that she helped investigators trace. She claimed that Ace used a network of associates and business entities to move money for criminal purposes while maintaining plausible deniability. The system allegedly worked like this. Ace would make legitimate business payments to associates for things like music production, promotion, or other services. These associates would then use that money to fund criminal activities, including the bounty payments for hits on rival gang members. Andrews allegedly provided account numbers, transaction dates, and the names of people involved in these financial networks. If this information is accurate and the FBI can verify it, that's the type of evidence that can bring down entire criminal organizations. But here's where her credibility becomes questionable. How would a young girl with no criminal background have detailed knowledge of complex money laundering operations? Either she's much smarter and more involved than anyone realized, or she's making up sophisticated sounding stories to impress investigators. The coordination meetings, planning the hit. One of the most explosive parts of Andrews' alleged confession involves her claims about planning meetings for the Foolio hit. She told investigators that she was present at multiple meetings where the operation was discussed and coordinated. According to her alleged statements, these meetings took place at various locations around Jacksonville, including recording studios, restaurants, and private homes. She claimed that Isaiah Chance brought her to these meetings because they were supposed to look like social gatherings, not criminal planning sessions. She allegedly provided specific details about who was present at these meetings, what was discussed, and what decisions were made. She claimed that the final decision to move forward with the Tampa hit was made at a meeting just days before Foolio's birthday. But here's what doesn't make sense. If these were high-level criminal planning meetings, why would they bring along a girlfriend with no criminal experience? Either Andrews is lying about being present at these meetings, or the people involved were incredibly sloppy about operational security. Typically only be known by high-level participants in criminal organizations. Second, some of the details she's providing don't match with other evidence in the case. For example, she claimed to be present at certain meetings on dates when phone records show she was in different locations. These types of inconsistencies destroy witness credibility. Third, her motivation to lie is obvious. She's facing life in prison and will say anything to get a better deal. Prosecutors love cooperating witnesses, but juries are often skeptical of people who are clearly trying to save themselves by blaming others. The defense is going to tear her apart on cross-examination. They're going to show that she's changed her story multiple times, that she has obvious motivations to lie, and that many of her claims can't be verified through independent evidence. The Yungeen Ace angle, why it might not be him. Now let's talk about why Yungeen Ace might not be behind this hit, despite what Andrews is allegedly claiming. First, Ace has been extremely careful about staying out of legal trouble since his early cases. He's built a legitimate music career and has too much to lose by getting involved in street activities. Second, the timing doesn't make sense. Ace was focused on his music career and had been distancing himself from street politics. Getting involved in a high-profile murder would jeopardize everything he had worked to build. Third, Ace had other ways to handle the Foolio situation that didn't involve violence. He was winning the rap battle, his career was taking off, and Foolio's relevance was declining. Why risk everything on a murder when time and success were already solving the problem? The more likely scenario is that lower-level people in ATK took it upon themselves to handle the Foolio situation, possibly hoping to impress Ace or gain status within the organization. Andrews might be trying to implicate Ace because she knows that's what prosecutors want to hear. The federal strategy, flipping the pyramid. The reason the feds are so interested in Andrews' allegations about Ace becomes clear when you understand their strategy. They're not just trying to solve one murder. They're trying to dismantle what they see as an ongoing criminal enterprise. By starting with lower-level defendants like Andrews and working their way up the organizational pyramid, they hope to eventually reach the people at the top who they believe are financing and directing criminal activities. This is the same strategy they used against organized crime families. But this strategy only works if the people at the bottom actually have reliable information about the people at the top. If Andrews is making up stories about Ace's involvement, the whole strategy falls apart and innocent people get railroaded. The defense response, attacking the snitch. Ace's legal team is already preparing to attack Andrews' credibility if she tries to testify against him. They're going to show that she's a desperate woman facing life in prison who will say anything to get a better deal from prosecutors. They're also going to point out that she initially denied knowing anything about the murder, then gradually started remembering more details as prosecutors offered her better deals. This pattern of evolving stories is classic behavior for unreliable witnesses. Most importantly, they're going to demand to see all the evidence Andrews claims to have provided: the recordings, the financial records, the text messages. If this evidence doesn't exist or doesn't support her claims, her entire story falls apart. The bigger picture, destroying Black success. Here's what really bothers me about this whole situation. The feds are using a desperate woman's uncorroborated allegations to try to destroy one of the most successful young Black entrepreneurs in the music industry. Ace built his career from nothing, overcame incredible obstacles, and became a legitimate businessman. Now they want to tear all that down based on the word of someone who's facing life in prison and has every reason to lie. This is the same playbook they used against other successful Black men in hip-hop. Find someone desperate enough to make accusations and use that to justify destroying everything they built. Even if Ace is completely innocent, the allegations alone could destroy his career, his business relationships, and his freedom. That's the real power of the federal system. They can ruin your life even if they never convict you of anything. The inevitable outcome, truth versus desperation. Here's the bottom line, fam. Federal system being used to destroy Black success based on the lies of desperate people. Conclusion. Do you believe Andrew's allegation?
Man, when you really sit back and look at everything that's been going on, it's just sad all around. Foolio was young, talented, and really had a movement behind him. Whether you like his music or not, you can't deny the fact that he made a name for himself out of nothing. He came from struggle, built a fan base, and kept people talking. That's something not many can do, right? But the deeper you go into the story, the more you realize how much pain and betrayal comes with this street life. It's not just music; it's real consequences. Real, real people losing their lives, and real families being destroyed. Foolio was somebody's son, somebody's brother, somebody's friend. Now you got this female out here admitting she played a part in all of this, right? Talking about how much money she was paid, and it's like, what did any of it really accomplish, right? A few $1,000s, some quick clout, and now you got blood on your hands and a lifetime of guilt. Ain't no amount of money worth that. And for Yungeen Ace, whether these accusations are true or not, this situation is gonna follow him forever. Every lyric, every post, every diss is gonna get looked at under a microscope now. The internet don't forget. That's a fact. It's a lesson for everybody watching. All that beef back and forth, it never ends well. One moment you up, the next moment you either get locked up or gone. I think it's time people really start learning from what's been happening with these Jacksonville rappers. Too many lives lost over pride, over words, over things that don't even matter in the long run. All that pain just keeps recycling. So yeah, man, that's the update on this crazy situation. The streets are talking, the internet is running wild, and people want answers. We'll see what happens next, but until then, let's remember that behind all of these headlines, these are real people. These are real people living through real pain. Let me know what y'all think down in the comment section down below. Do you believe this girl really got paid off Ace's camp, or is she just saying that to take the spotlight or cut a deal? Let me know what y'all think. Either way, this story is getting darker by the day, and I'll definitely keep y'all posted as more comes out. Make sure y'all stay tapped in. Hit the like button if you made it this far. Subscribe if you haven't already. And turn on the bell so you never miss an upload, and stay updated when I post videos like this. Stay safe out here. Move smart. And don't let the internet fool you. Everything that glitters ain't gold. But yeah, it's your boy Tyler Jones. Peace out.